Hello students, again we are here to take our chapter forward, framing the constitution. We have discussed a lot about the discussions, about the proceedings, about the Constituent Assembly, about the different members. We have also discussed about how the prolonged work and a very painstaking work was done by our leaders, and how so many problems were there in the country, because it was not a bed of roses when we got independence. There were so many problems that were faced by the members of the Constituent Assembly. Now, it was going on the procedure. Yesterday we left at the point where we were discussing about the rights of the people, defining rights of the people, and particularly the so-called minorities at that time, and the so-called those lower caste which were hitherto treated as inferior. They were also demanding their rights. And there was discussion on the separate electorate also. There was a person, B. Pokar Bahadur from Madras. He made a powerful plea means request, that separate electorate should be considered for the for those people who were for thousands of years they were exploited. For thousands of years they were not enjoying any rights. So it was there. Then there actually, when the members of the Constituent Assembly, when they used to sit together, when they used to discuss the problems, the expectations of the people, so there were debates, you know, that few people, they are asking for something and the others are telling them about the drawbacks. So there was R.V. Dulekar. He said that now it is not the time that you are speaking of thousands of years before. Now that independence is there, and now the time is over when the so-called lower castes were considered to be the lower and untouchability was there. Now the temples are open, now the worshipping places are open for all, and there is no discrimination between the people now. And actually R.V. Dulekar wanted to reconcile, wanted to make the people satisfy that now the situation is totally different. Now it is a different situation in India, and now the other caste who consider themselves as oppressed, they will not face all these problems. So there were very good orators in the Constituent Assembly, like just now we will talk about Jaipal Singh, a very good orator in the Constituent Assembly, and it was a very good atmosphere of discussion and debate on certain issues. Particularly we are talking about the rights of the minorities, the defining rights. Then Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who was, I told you, the in charge of the state ministries at that time, he clearly said in the meeting, you can see in the sources, in the same chapter, last chapter of your Modern India, he said that although British element is gone, British element is not there now in India, but the mischief is there. The British element is gone, but the mischief remains. Means the divide and rule, the other wrong policies. I told you about the acts passed by them time to time, 1929, Morley Minto, 1919, Montague, Chelmsford, then Act of 1935. Time to time the acts were passed. So mischief means in those acts, you know that there was divide and rule. I told you about the repression, reform, division. You remember all these points in my previous lectures I have given you. So although they have gone, the element, British element is gone, but the mischief remains. And then Govind Vallabh Pant, I also told about Govind Vallabh Pant to you yesterday, that he said that if the people of India are demanding separate electorate, that is suicidal for the Indians. Suicidal means any other power will come and capture you in future also, because if you remain separate. So it is suicidal for the people if they demand for separate electorate. And you know students, a very important point is that after watching the partition scenario, after seeing the partition that was full of riots, even Ambedkar supported all these things. Ambedkar, who was the champion of the rights of so-called depressed classes at that time. Even he was worried after watching the scenario of the partition, and he supported what was going on by Vallabhbhai Patel, by R.V. Dhulekar, etc. So these debates and discussions were there. What we are studying? We are studying framing the constitution. And you can see that framing the constitution was not an easy task. We have today a constitution, we go through the different articles, we know there is an end of untouchability, etc. So this is background, that how this very complex and very typical procedure was adopted to frame the constitution. And it was not an easy task for the leaders at that time. Then we come to another socialist, N.G. Ranga. You have to learn all these names, students. Go through your NCERT chapter very clearly and note down all these points. You can be asked in 1 mark or in your objective type questions. So N.G. Ranga, he was a socialist. He said that we need more when there was discussion on these rights, and when there was discussion how to distribute power between center and state. Because although the term federal was not there in the beginning in the constitution, but India tend to be a federal country, because I told you about the princely states, and I also told you that there was problem of princely states tackled by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who prepared an instrument of accession, and he went to different areas, because when Britishers came to India, there were about 600 states, and then some of the states were developed by the Britishers, and still there were so many princely states. Junagadh, Nizams of Hyderabad, Jammu and Kashmir. He went place to place and then gave influential speeches to the people, telling them that if you do not join, many princely states, their kings, they had refused to join either India or Pakistan. So he told them what will be the drawback of it, what will be the repercussions. So if you remain separate, then for the consolidated country, for which we have fought for so long, what will happen to this ideal? So instrument of accession was prepared. Then we will talk about N.G. Ranga. He was a socialist. He said that we need something more, means more. This distribution of powers between union, state, and then concurrent and residuary powers, you know about it. Then there was another orator. Orator means a very good speaker, Jaipal Singh, and he belonged to a tribe, and he supported the rights of the tribe. He welcomed the objectives resolution by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, about which we were talking in the last lectures, objective resolution. He supported that resolution, but also said that thousands of years of oppression that were faced by these people, by the tribal, actually they were the targets, the tribals, the peasants, they were the targets of the colonial powers. So these, they said, the tribals, and the leader was Jaipal Singh. He allocated that the thousands years oppression can be conciled. We can get some relief if the constitution provides us certain protection and certain rights. And yes, it happened in the constitution when untouchability abolished, in the preamble of the constitution, equality, freedom to all, social justice. And then we come to K. Santhanam. K. Santhanam was another speaker, another member, and when the powers, administrative power between center and state were to be divided, center had many powers, so there was a phenomena, there was a saying that center would be crippled if all the powers, financial powers, defense powers, foreign affairs, if all these powers, as we had seen in the Act of 1919, Diarchy was introduced by the Britishers. So if this goes on, center would be crippled. And although the members of the Constituent Assembly were in favor of having in India a centralized federation, center tend to be more powerful than the states because of the problems they had in their mind, the problem of the princely state, the diversities. So center tend to be more powerful, so there was a list system adopted. Center had maximum subjects, 97 subjects, all the subjects are of national importance. Then some powers were allocated to the states. They are having 66 subjects with them, the agrarian, agricultural, trade, etc. And then there was concurrent list. There were 47 subjects for both center and state, and they could sit together and make policies on it. And our constitution framers were aware that India is a very big country, and somewhere or the other there could be a subject before the government that is neither included in any of the list. Correct? So residuary powers were kept for that. Residuary. Residue itself means residue. Residue itself means the remaining. Any, like for example, computer, software and hardware, it came very late. So immediately they are also included in union list, and center can make laws on it. So this was a task done by the members of the Constituent Assembly, that how they tackled the problem. And finally there was problem of the language, that which language is to be decided for the country. So Indian constitution makers were aware that language is a very personal matter of the people, and we cannot declare a particular language as the official language of the country. Many people supported Hindi to be the national language, but it was, according to a study, it was observed that only 40% people of India can speak and understand Hindi. 60% do not. So how could we make Hindi as an official language? But it tends to be a mother tongue of the country. So the regional dialects and the regional languages were recognized. Today there are, apart from Hindi, there are 21 scheduled languages written in the constitution. A person who is appearing in the central government conducted examination can opt from these 21 languages plus Hindi. Hindi tend to be the mother tongue because 40% is the largest number of people. And the southern states are totally non-Hindi. So in Kerala, Malayalam and other languages they continue, and English continues to be the second official language of the country. Because non-Hindi people, either they can understand their own regional language or they can understand English. So English continues to be, although there was lots of discussion on English also, that when Britishers left India, English should also be ousted from the country. But in 1965, finally government decided to keep English as the second language of the country. So maximum newspaper today, maximum number of newspaper in Hindi, largest number, English second number, then Urdu third number, and then the other regional languages wherever the states are, whichever language is popular over there, the languages are taken care of. So even in the language policy, our constitution makers have shown a very liberal attitude. So that is the end of your 15th chapter today. Prepare your notes. We will meet again in the next lecture with a new chapter, a new lesson for you. Till then, a very goodbye.